and Heels. We're glad you joined us.
I'm Boots.
And I'm Heels. Wow, great day today.
Wonderful holiday in remembrance
it's a Monday.
Of a fantastic, rejoicing day of minority and women's rights.
Yeah,
and
Equal Rights Day.
Equal
really?
Rights Day. It's a day to celebrate.
Yeah, it is.
And thank you everyone for celebrating this day. It's a great day.
Yeah, for joining us, on this Monday. I did get up, I did listen to Pelosi's speech this morning, and as usual, I'm pretty disappointed in her speeches.
I'm beyond disappointed.
100% of the time. But in this case, it's really disheartening because she really used in my opinion, she really used this holiday to really stress her voter suppression, as she calls it, rather than really honoring Martin Luther King.
Yeah, it really takes away.
It does
from the memory of the amazing struggles that people have gone through and the positive changes that we have made in this country. And single-handedly, we really live in the best country as far as individual rights in the whole entire world. But once again, Pucosi and her comrades really try to tarnish and take away from the memory of such a great historical event.
Yeah. She was comparing it to the march across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. She was, really pitting it against what's happening in the world today, and literally just took a strike against really the conservatives across the nation by way of that. We're trying to make sure that people have voter ID and identification and those very essential things like be an American and those little minor things that we believe is what needs to happen.
It's very correct to uphold the law of you have to have proper ID to vote, and meaning you need to have a vested interest in your vote for this country. There's nothing wrong with that, and we need to uphold that. But once again, Nancy Pelosi and her comrades use something good and try to twist it and politicize things and take away from the good positive memories and strides that people have made to turn it into something for their agenda.
We were called obstructionists today on that. We're obstructionists because we want those typical things that I feel and I think most of the country feels necessary in order for people to vote. We want voter rights, of course, but we want proper identification. We want you to be an American to be able to issue that vote.
Because let's face it,
we don't want you to be dead.
Right. If you're dead or if you're not an American citizen, you really don't have a vested interest in our country or what your friends and neighbors, their investment in this great nation.
I mean, look at what's happening in the nation today. I mean, I typically got up this morning thinking, really wanted to talk about the critical race theory. I wanted to, take a look at the school board situation and what's happening in our public schools. And of course, first thing again, I watched that speech and I was like,
oh, this is so disappointing.
I mean,
it's the job of educators to teach facts.
Educate your children.
To educate children to math, reading, how to form a sentence. It's really not their job to indoctrinate your children as to their any type of polluted social beliefs that they have.
But it's happening. It's happening all across this country. I mean, you can, and people are getting on the political arena in the classroom, and whatever their ideals are, they are indoctrinating that into the minds of your children. And I do not disagree with the parents having a stark contrast to that and saying, hey, absolutely not. I will come and scream to the top of my lungs for you to be able to decide what my children, or which side of the fence, so to speak, that they are on. That's really for the parents' guidance, and that's for for them to talk to their children about, not for the teachers. And we have a lot of that.
We've totally had a very big disconnect in our society these days with the powers that be trying to utilize the public school system to pollute the minds of young people, and it's being done. And it's being done without the watchful eye of parents, but a lot of people are waking up to this and they're not really keen on the idea. I believe in parents' rights, and I also believe in the rights of parents for school choice. And if more small, independent, private schools were available, that people could take their children out of the corrupt public school system, and guess what? That money no longer goes to those public corrupt schools.
No, it doesn't.
Then maybe there wouldn't be such an industry of money being made to pollute your children's minds.
No, the idea that anyone would be judged on their skin color is appalling to me anyway.
Absolutely.
It absolutely is appalling. And, babies are born and they're completely innocent. And honestly, it's taught. I mean, the defenders of, parents defenders of education, what they want is really just justice in the classroom, really. Don't teach our kids what you think. Teach our kids math, arithmetic, history, home ec.
Teach them how to balance their bank account.
Yeah, how about that? Just a simple balance your bank account. Is home ec even in the schools anymore?
I don't even know what.
I mean, you don't get taught to sew anymore.
I don't think they really get taught much of anything
well, it's
anymore.
a good thing because I sewed up the other pants leg whenever I was in home ec. It's like you couldn't put your foot in it.
Well, I mean, this
I really sucked at that.
Critical race theory. We've gone so far backward from what you and I experienced when we were growing up.
Yeah.
And I know
I lived in the '60s.
People
folks.
don't like to hear this, but wow, I really don't see color when
I don't think about it either.
Meet other human beings, I don't think of them as their skin color. Some people try to say that's a bunch of caca, but for me it's true. I mean, I just see the person. So the idea that we're to be judged by our skin color, not by the merits of who we are as human beings, is really disgusting to me.
Well, yeah, it's absolutely disgusting. I have my family is multicultural, so I have all walks of life in my family. And like I said with you, and we laugh about it all the time. I mean, it was years before I knew she was a white girl.
Absolutely. I mean, it was years before it was even brought up, and she just laughed.
Before she got her skin cancer and she was a sun bunny and in the sun all the time, she has the kind of skin that really makes her dark. And I thought she was a beautiful person then. I think she's a beautiful person now. But I never really I just didn't know. I thought that you were...
I think that there have been a lot of people that were amazed that I'm not of mixed race. And now that I've not been in the sun because of skin cancer, you can see I'm not, or maybe I am and just light skin.
Well, our complexions still don't match that much.
Right,
I mean,
but
you will always be a few shades darker than me.
But
I mean, just because you have that awesome skin.
Thank goodness that I did not judge my best friend all those years ago because her skin was whiter than mine.
Absolutely. I mean, and the idea that you would think one is lesser than the other is ridiculous. And I also think it's ridiculous.
Less capable, less anything.
I mean, less anything. I just can't believe there's still people out there that feel that way. But, yes, I will say that, when I meet someone on the street, of course, I obviously know whether they are black or dark skinned or white or whatever, I mean, simply by someone speaking, I could say their accent, you would make them maybe a little bit different than, what I had just encountered the day before.
Well, clearly, I never judge. I have on red, you have blue and white.
Yeah.
Okay? You have blonde hair, I have black hair. It's just an observation. It's not a judgment. It's an observation.
Exactly.
But where we do see judgment, and I read this morning, there's even a female professor at Rutgers that actually tells her students that if you are white, you are born and created in this world innately to be a villain. That you are a villain if you have lighter skin than she has.
That you're flawed if you're a white person, that you have been born flawed. That your mental capacity and thinking has been obscured forever because you were born.
Because you have a different skin color than she has.
It's crazy. I say this: do not raise your families in the victim mentality,
Absolutely.
and that you're lesser than, and I look at my grandchildren. I look at, again, multicultural family. They don't know any difference. I have a lot of different culture and different skin colors in my family, and they don't really look at each other. We sit across the table, we eat together, we play together, we vacation together, we work together, and we don't ever think like that. And that's because we were basically not put in a position to be that drove into our head. My grandmother would have smacked me silly.
Absolutely.
And I grew up in the 60s whenever the schools were separated and then, ended up, merging together. And there was a lot of dynamics during that time. But, still, we weren't racist. We weren't.
One thing that I did discover in looking up this critical race theory garbage is it's a huge industry. They're saying that
they're making money on it too.
They're saying that there was about $25 billion generated in revenue from individuals and companies that promote critical race theory, and that a lot of the money from that comes from school districts paying professionals to come up with this curriculum for students. It's amazing.
Well, I'm joining the fight that it shouldn't be in our classrooms. I do not believe that it should be there. So just for our audience sake out there, just know that I particularly am against it. I think that they need to get back to teaching our children and where they actually graduate with some kind of, higher SAT scores. And,
right. And I'm of the belief, too, that really we teach each other to become better people just by setting an example. Yeah. And that's nothing that a teacher in the classroom needs to cram down your throat by using skin color. That children learn so much by their parents, by the good examples that parents set. And this garbage of division that we haven't seen for decades. We have not seen this type of division for decades. Yeah. And now it's actually being used to manipulate a particular political movement.
We're starting to become a very accepting nation of anything. We really are. On a lighter note, what about the first pig heart transplant?
Wow. Guess what, folks?
Yeah.
Guess what?
Wow.
The recipient of the first pig
Well, first let's
heart
celebrate the
transplant.
fact that medically has been done, because it's going to help a lot of great people out there. But in this particular case...
this guy was convicted of stabbing someone in 1988 multiple times, causing the man to be completely paralyzed. And I think he spent like 10 years in the pen.
Well, so in this case, I just think that the pig heart is fitting.
Yeah, the pig heart is fitting.
Lots of pigs out there, already. So, maybe the recipient of this particular situation might have been one.
Pen.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
Oink, oink.
Oh, my God. Oink, oink. Okay, we're not...
Bad joke.
Well, it is kind of a bad joke, but it's kind of funny.
Got to have something to giggle about.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, let's think about that, though. That's, I know none of our men in our audience are pigs.
No.
We believe that you are not.
Wonderful gentlemen.
Thank you guys for all the comments, too. I wanted to bring up a couple of the comments, too, while we do this. So this morning I'm also reading down through there, and it is basically talking about... Okay, I have to almost quote. Well, I won't quote, but I'm going to...
while we're addressing on Martin Luther King Day, bias and bigotry...
Yeah, really.
We decided to read a couple of our comments.
Okay, so here it goes. It says, the profile of a typical COVID victim is now an older, unvaccinated person who is obese and lives in rural areas. These are Trumpers who are dying off in record numbers and she's basically saying dying off in record numbers and will not put him in a very good position to be voted in for anything at this point, or we'll get our way about anything simply because we're all dying of COVID.
Right.
And you have to be a Republican to be dying. And she says she has, obviously can back that up. It says, so they're Trumpers and they are dying, and this is a major political impact, but in the wrong way. Yeah. So would you like me to read my response?
Yeah, please do, because I'm astounded every day at the mindset of people. I think, how did our nation become like so
The bigots and the
contaminated.
racists accusing people of being bigots and racists.
Yeah,
that's really
basically the bigots and the
what it
racists
is.
are confusing.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, I just basically commented back, not to worry then in the Democratic held cities and the hospitals then, because, obviously us fat rural area living people won't make it to the hospitals according to this person, and it doesn't matter anyway because our peoples will just bury us in the backyard. That's kind of like, seriously.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, these are just one of many of these that we get that I think is absolutely ridiculous. But I don't know.
I'm telling you, read the comments. You'll be shocked at the mindset of some people.
Thank you guys for the support.
Read the comments, yeah, and thank you for your support because there's some wackos out there.
We get them, we do, from all sides of the spectrum, but we do really appreciate the support. And let's remember this day for what this day is really for. There was a lot of good work that was done.
Absolutely.
And to take away from that is really wrong, and to use it as to spin it into a narrative that fits ideologies is wrong. I do not believe that he would be very proud at the comments and what was happening on Pelosi's speech this morning at all. In my heart of hearts, I don't believe that. To take the memory of such a great movement that had such positive effects for so many people across the board.
Yeah. And to take that and to diminish the importance and the value that struggle had.
Exactly.
And to turn it into something for voting rights for non-citizens and illegals and criminals that come across the border is absolutely disgusting and vile.
What she said. That's exactly true.
Right.
So, I guess for now, we're just going to kind of close it off and tell everybody that we love you out there. Thank you for commenting. If you can, go over to redbootsandheels.com. Check out Pets No Politics. And last week, we shared with you a puppy, and we have now calling her Sunday.
Her name is Sunday.
She was, basically rescued on a cold winter Sunday night.
Precious like Sunday.
She is wonderful. So we are still looking for a home for her, but I'm getting awfully attached to her. I can't keep them all, folks.
I know.
Keep them all. I wish I could. But she's still under vet care, so we'll have her for a little bit longer. But you can actually see her on Featured Pet on redbootsandheels.com. We appreciate you guys, and I guess for now, we're just going to say God bless America, and so long. Until next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.